Good morning, gang. Happy Sunday morning. Okay, as we here, some of you guys are already dealing with this, get ready for this massive winter storm that's supposed to start. Yeah, around here it's supposed to start snowing at 9 o'clock this morning. It's, just short of 5 a.m. here right now. Yeah, so, of course, in my ultimate insanity, promised PBJ that we'd smoke a brisket today. So I'm going to be outside working the smoker here in the snow. So, yes. All right, I am as crazy as you think I am sometimes. But no, that's not what I'm going to talk about. I want to delve into this whole Las Vegas truck bombing thing. And I've been paying attention to it just like you guys have. Watching Sean Ryan's interview, that was kind of eye-opening, kind of putting puzzle pieces together. And I want to present a alternative idea that I haven't seen talked about anywhere. But that's the one thing about investigations, is you need to look at all of the feasible ideas here and see what's going on. Even if they're just speculation, which is what I'm about to talk about. And maybe there's something that's come about that's already been disproven, and I'm completely wrong. That's possible, okay? But I haven't seen it. So we know the story on what happened is that Matthew Livelsberger left Colorado on December 28th and set up this bomb to go off on New Year's Day. Okay. Now, people ask, why did he leave so early? Well, he took a weird way to get there. If you drove straight through from Colorado through Utah, cut the corner of Arizona there real quick, drove through Mesquite, Nevada, and on through to Vegas, okay, it's about a 7-hour drive from 7.5, maybe 8, okay, from Denver area. Except he went down through New Mexico. So instead of doing the hypotenuse of a triangle, he did the two sides. Why? Okay, maybe people would say, well, gee, worried about getting stuck in weather. It's a possibility. Anybody that's ever driven through parts of Utah and parts of Colorado know this time of year you could be buried in snow. But no, the almost certain reason he did was to pick up the equipment he needed. If you look at it, the bomb supposedly that he had was, fireworks and mortars being fireworks again, not, I very seriously doubt he had military mortars, camping fuel, that sort of stuff. Okay. Well, Colorado, that's practically impossible to get. In Utah, you have only a couple of days of the year that you can buy fireworks. It's from like the 28th or the 29th of December through the 31st. Granted, he could have been there at this time. But in New Mexico, you can buy whatever you want 365 days a year. Okay. So, and you have a wider variety of what you can get. So that makes a lot of sense that if he was going to do something, that he'd go down through New Mexico and then cut over. And if this was all set up to be done on January 1st, leaving on the 28th, gave him plenty of time. We know for sure that he went on the New Mexico route because there were the tracking of the Cybertruck where he stopped to charge it tracks down through New Mexico, okay? I mean, again, the vehicle's completely trackable. And so we know he did that just by, okay, it was charged in this place, and this place, and this place, and that was down through New Mexico, cut across through Arizona, and he was good, okay? All right. Now, the issue comes in to some of the actual places he drove. It wasn't a direct route. It wasn't like he stopped at a rest station or something like that, along the highway, where you have gas stations. You pull off, you pull right back on. He had to go into towns or whatever to find these places. Great. Okay, did that. But there were also some trackings, if you will, that were kind of off the beaten path as to where he went. Chances are that's going to be the fireworks store, maybe pick something, a Cabela's, a Bass Pro Shop, whatever. I'm not saying it was either one of those stores. Don't say that. I'm just giving an example. But where you're going to buy camping fuel. All right. So he does something like that. But the thing is, before he left, he had sent this email to Sean Ryan, okay? And within an hour of Sean Ryan posting this the other day, the FBI confirmed that this was legitimate. They verified this email as real. Okay. Let's take a look at it. Now, the very first sentence is something that I want to key into. It says, in case I do not make it to my decision point or to the Mexico border, I'm sending this now. All right. So decision point. Is that telling you that he hasn't necessarily decided he wants to do this yet? Or onto the Mexican border? Okay. So he was trying to get away. Got it. Please do not release this until 1 a.m. or 1 January and keep my identity private until then. All right. So, I'm sorry, but this is a see something, say something thing. If I receive this email, this is putting up red flags to me. What are we going to... because if you read the rest of it, it does not sound like, okay, this is a coherent person. Or a stable person, let's put it that way. Where it comes into play and where I start questioning this, okay, is where you get down near the bottom. And fourth paragraph from the bottom. It says, I've been followed for over a week now from likely Homeland, meaning Homeland Security, or the FBI. They are looking to move on me and are unlikely to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know they am armed and have massive VBIEDs. Okay. Here's my alternative philosophy, or guess, something that I would at least look into. If he knows he's been followed, and the guy is a highly decorated Special Forces operative, the chances are, and we've seen the high quality personnel that the FBI has been hiring lately, right? Chances are he had a good opportunity to outsmart whoever the FBI agent was. Who's to say he didn't kill the FBI agent, put the FBI agent in the car? Mind you, this guy's a special ops guy, all right? So driving around with a dead body in his car is not going to faze him. Put him in the car, continue on to do his thing. Go pick up fireworks, go pick up camping fuel, and drive on along, right? No big deal. Remember, the guy was shot in the head at the end, okay? How do you think a spec ops guy is going to take out a adversary? Double tap, 2 in the chest, 1 in the head, okay? I'll get to that in a second. So you get near Vegas, he gets out of the car, puts the dead body in the driver's seat, programs the car to drive to Trump Tower, to again completely mask what he's trying to do. And again, I'm going to say this, I'm speculating. But programs the car drives, car blows up, and this is it. Now, what I find very interesting is the body was burned beyond recognition, right? But they were able to identify the tattoos. I don't buy that for a second, okay? I've got a couple of tattoos. If my skin is melting, those are gone real quick. You had a fireworks camping fuel explosion in a closed area that made of stainless steel that didn't blow up. So that means the entire blast was pretty much contained to the inside of that car. The person is going to be trashed. I don't buy that you can pick up his tattoos. The fire that was inside apparently was enough, according to the FBI, to burn his body beyond recognition, but wasn't enough to melt his military ID, made of plastic, melt his passport, made of plastic, or burn 2 pieces of paper that supposedly had his manifesto on it. I'm sorry, I'm not buying this, okay? Then the next part, he was found with a Desert Eagle, okay, 50 cal handgun. If you've ever seen one, it's a good size handgun. If you've ever fired one of these things or seen one fired, the muzzle blast on this is quite visual. Yet, nobody on New Year's Day in Las Vegas in front of the Trump Hotel, because, there wouldn't be anybody in the vicinity of that, right? Nobody heard a gunshot. Now, PBJ had a feasible response to that one. And again, the only way this is going to be possible is if he had a detonator in his hand that was off when it was closed and went off when his hand released. That's taking a big risk. This isn't Hollywood, that when the guy dies, his hand opens. Okay? You've got to assume that's what's going to go on, and everybody watches movies. It's not necessarily how it works. It's kind of like somebody getting shot and they get thrown back 20 feet by having a bullet in their chest. That ain't how it works either. It's great in the movies. It's not in real life. So that would be a big risk. Nobody saw the muzzle blast. Nobody heard the gunshot. But as PBJ said, it could have been the gunshot, hand released. Somebody hears the gunshot, turn, but that thing would have to go off very quickly. So in the time of boom, what was that? And then you see the whole car go up. Okay. Possible, I will admit. Okay. The hand thing doesn't make sense to me. There has been speculation. It has not been proven yet. Okay. But there's been a lot of talk about it. So where it came out, I don't know. That the DNA taken from the body in the truck does not match Matthew Livelsberger's. They tried to test it against his son, and the DNA didn't match. And the funny part is, I've seen people say, oh, it's got to be the mother, the mitochondrial DNA. I will tell you this from personal experience. They can test paternity on a kid from the father. It's how the courts do it. I love listening to these people go, they can't tell off of his kid. How do you think they do paternity tests, guys? Okay. Yeah, it works that way. That has been spoken about a lot, but officials haven't said it's true. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened. Okay. So there is a very plausible chance that Matthew Livelsberger, who was probably more competent at tracking somebody than an incompetent FBI agent, caught his tail, killed his tail, brought him in, put him in the driver's seat, had put a bullet in the guy's head, drove in front of the car, and could be remote detonated the vehicle. And it's his cover for that short amount of time that they go, oh, this is him. And in that time, while they're concentrating on that, he had the time to get from, as he said in his email, from Las Vegas to the Mexican border. All right, you're not talking very long. You've got to get through the state of Arizona, and that's it. All right, and then you go down through Nogales or something, and you're into Mexico, if that was his plan. Now, am I saying that's what happened? No, I'm saying it's a plausible theory that I haven't seen anybody talk about. Everybody's saying, oh, it's him. I'm saying maybe it's not. This is how investigations work. Now, here's the interesting part. If anybody, and I got from quite a few of you guys, either emails or links to Sean Ryan's video, which of course I'd already seen. Sean Ryan has gone to a undisclosed location. Why? Well, let's think about it. If he publishes this email, you don't think the FBI is going to want to question him on what else he knows? What else does he know? He might know where Matthew Livelsberger is. This could be a psyop of the psyop. Livelsberger could have written this. Nowhere in here does it say, I'm going to kill myself. Nowhere in the manifesto does it say that. You know, I've got to do this because, you know, the manifesto says stuff along the lines of, I've got to do this because of the buddies I lost and because of the lives I took, you know, that I've got to wake up the people. He's insinuating, but nowhere does he say, I'm taking my life because. No, I'm making a spectacle so that people pay attention. Okay? People, everybody, has a tendency to jump to conclusions on what is going on. You know, Occam's razor, the shortest distance between, you know, the most logical answer, the simplest answer is usually the right one. Not when you are running a psyop. When you're trying to make it as convoluted as possible because the one thing it's buying you is time. I'm not going to say this is true. I'm saying it's certainly, I'm going to look, something I would look at if I'm investigating this. I'm not going an identification, going, this is the guy, because his body was burned beyond recognition, okay, that I'm going to be able to identify him off of tattoos, or because his ID is in the car. Ever left your wallet in the car before? Right? Okay. Sure. Is that the straightest line? Is that the thing to make it easiest for the FBI? And, gee, we just wash our hands of this one. This one's done. That's what they want you to do. It's not necessarily what's happened. Do I believe my theory? I believe it's got a better than 50% chance of being right. Okay. I'm not taking the easy way out on this one. I could be totally wrong. It could have been his body in there. It could have been this was his suicide letter. But I'm looking at a guy who's a special ops guy. He's smarter than that. And I'm sorry, nobody who's got that kind of training, it makes a bomb that is that ineffective just to get attention, but to kill himself. The feds are saying, oh, it's mental health issues. He's got PTSD and this is what it is. Maybe. He's spec ops. You get chosen for that, but you also have to volunteer for that. You know what you're getting into beforehand. Okay? It's not like he was an army cook and this happened, or a mailroom clerk, or a desk jockey like I was, and he got to see this. He knew exactly what he was getting into. Could he still get PTSD? Sure. Okay. Do I think that's what it is? No. My guess, okay, I'm not saying this is the absolute truth. We haven't heard the last of Matthew Livelsberger out of his own mouth. Just keep an open mind on this one. I don't trust the government. Why the hell would I in this situation? And I implore you to think the same way. Happy Sunday. Pinball out. I'm going to go play in the cold.